Alright, so welcome back here, ladies and gentlemen. And here are all the passes that we've rendered out of Maya with V-Ray. And those are our color passes. And if we take a look here at our ambient occlusion passes, we pretty much have the same layout as our color passes. Now, the key here is we're going to go ahead and start doing our Photoshop work here. And the first thing that we want to go ahead and do is we want to take our color pass and open it inside of Photoshop here. So I'm just going to drag this in. And you can see where if we take a look at our channels, we have an alpha channel on our image, which is going to allow us to select just the rendered out portion that was created inside of Maya. And so that's fine. But what I want to go ahead and do here is we're going to drag this onto a new image. So let's go up here and create a new image, same size as our render, so that we can fit everything properly. Okay, just leave the background transparent. And so we'll just come over here to our original color render, just drag this into our image. We don't really need to go ahead and actually keep this one open, so we can go ahead and close that. We just need to go ahead here and place this properly, and we'll rename this color render or color pass, you know what I mean, just so that you know what's what here. So now the first sort of compositing that we want to do here is we want to go ahead and fill our background. So let's go ahead and just create a new layer, drag this under our color pass, and we're just going to rename this background, which is going to be the temporary background here. Okay, so let's just go ahead here and fill this. This is just so that we can see exactly what we're doing in terms of adding a glow to Bender, because he would be plugged in, and obviously you can see that he's plugged in. He's definitely going to need some sort of glow and some sort of attitude into the image. So the first pass that we want to go ahead and bring over here, and I'm just not going to keep this on screen here. I'm just going to keep this on my second screen and just continually select the renders that we have out and drag them onto our Photoshop icon so that I can bring them in, and I'll tell you exactly which one that we'll need here first. So let's go ahead and grab our color pass dot diffuse first, and we'll go ahead and bring this into Photoshop and basically do the same here, same thing here. Just select the alpha channel, just drag it onto our image, okay, and just making sure that this is going to be below the original color pass layer. We can go ahead and turn that off. And what I want to go ahead and do here is actually add a glow to Bender so that we can start working on the glow first. So all we just need to go ahead and do is just go into our filter gallery, okay, which is under filter gallery, and we'll just start adding some glow here. And let me move down here a little bit so you can see the effects that we're gonna get here. And this diffuse glow might be a little bit too white, so let's try our neon glow, and you can see the sort of effect that we're gonna get here. Okay, and if I go up and turn up the brightness here, okay, we'll just click OK, and you can see where this is sort of red, and that's okay. If we go ahead and bring back our color pass, and I'll put this layer above it first, and just rename this neon glow, and we'll begin the process here of comping onto Bender. All you really have to do is just play with your layer styles and seeing what's going to fit properly. But since we would really, like I said, would want this below the image, I'm going to go ahead here and just adjust our hue and saturation first. Okay. I want to saturate that out a little bit, so let's go ahead now and drag this below the original color render. Grab our neon layer, and we're going to add a Gaussian blur to it, and you can see where right away we have that sort of neonish glow behind them. We just might have to adjust that a little bit here, just sort of tighten it up. Okay. We're also going to copy that layer, and I want to go ahead here and put it above it, above the original color pass layer. And we're just going to play with our layer styles here to see what's going to, you know, fit better. And the pin light actually looks pretty good, so let's go ahead and just turn our layer style down here, our opacity a little bit up. So we're really trying to give them a purplish glow, but we're also going to be duplicating that neon glow layer again, because I don't want it to be just purple behind here. I actually want to try and get some green in here as well. So just go ahead and play with our hue and our saturation. Okay. And that actually looks pretty good there. If we go ahead and actually turn off our background, you can't really see it there, but here you can see where that glow is really starting to come out, and we'll just have to adjust the layer style on that as well. So if we leave that to a hard light, that should, you know, give us a decent look. As you can see here, there's two real distinct sort of glows. One is a purple and one's sort of a bluish green. And you can duplicate that as many times as you want to really give the sort of effect that you're looking for. As you can see, I didn't really necessarily comp on top of Bender first, and that's because I want to add that glow first, and after I add the glow and the effects that I want, then I'll start compositing on top of them to give them the shininess and everything else that we need, which would include our ambient occlusion pass and our depth pass. So the next image that I want to, the next pass that I want to go ahead and bring in here is our color pass .gi, and I'll be giving you all of these images as well, so that you can comp together the same method that I'm using. And the big key there is there's really no set process to going ahead and actually compositing together. You should just really, you know, try and see what works. So let's go ahead here and close that GI pass, making sure that this is on the top part of the stack here. Go ahead and here we'll play with our layer styles and just seeing what's going to fit properly here. You obviously shouldn't be black like that. And the main key here is I'm really trying to try to keep it cartoony, not necessarily realistic, because in the end he still is a cartoon, and he should really try to keep that sort of overall stylized look. And you don't, like I said, you don't really want to touch it too much. Okay, so now that we have our GI pass in here, let's go ahead and bring in another pass, and we'll go ahead and bring in our reflection pass here. And the same thing, just select the alpha channel by hitting Control and selecting that channel, and we'll go ahead and just drag that over here. Okay, play with our layer styles here to try and get that sort of effect that we're looking for our shiny pass here. Okay, so we'll come up here to our brightness and contrast for this. I'm not sure that you can really see the effect that it's sort of adding there. Okay, so let's come up here to normal, and we'll go ahead here and just adjust our brightness and contrast. You can see where it's going to get brighter, or there's going to be more contrast actually in the image. And now we can go ahead here and overlay it, just being careful of how we actually go ahead and put this on. And if we zoom in here, and I'll go ahead and run back through here, you can see where you sort of get that effect that, of the reflection, so you're basically getting double the reflection. Okay. And let's go ahead here and grab another pass here. And I want to go ahead and grab our alpha pass. Colorpass.alpha. Okay, so we'll go ahead and select our alpha pass. Drag this over here. And we can go ahead and add a filter to this if we want as well. And you can see where this actually does a really good job of putting a neon glow mainly on just what is the edge of that image. But if you don't want to use the neon glow, you sort of don't have to. Like I said, you can basically do whatever you want inside of Photoshop here. So that neon glow might actually work. Let's go ahead and maybe give us a real different green here. If we change our blending style here, you can really see where that's going to give us a wild layout here. And we can always just duplicate that layer again. Okay, turn back our opacity and fill to 100% here, and just drag this below what is our color pass, so it's basically going to be behind them. Turn on our filter, blur, Gaussian blur. So now we're going to get that sort of greenish in there as well. And just turn our fill and our opacity down. Okay. And you can see right away where we start getting a lot of layer compositing inside of Photoshop. So the ultimate goal is make sure that you rename everything, just so that you know exactly what's what here. Okay. So if you have to sort of turn one off and you're not exactly sure which it is, then it's going to be a little bit harder for you. Okay, so now I think we're ready to go ahead and actually start adding our depth and ambient occlusion to Bender's actual body here. So let's come over and grab our color pass dot shadow. Okay, let's just drag this into our Photoshop composite here. Just grabbing our alpha channel. Go ahead and drag him over. Okay. And just making sure that he's going to be at the top of our stack here. Okay. Just adjust your layer styles here to fit what you need. And I always run the gambit of going through every single layer style, and that's because some layer styles work better than others, so you should always check to see which is going to give you the best effect. And you can see now where we're starting to get a sort of really depthy sort of image. So let's go and grab our, we're going to go ahead and grab our color pass .z depth here. Just doing the same thing, grab the alpha channel of our image, just drag it over. Now you can always just set the depth past the multiply here, which does work, but I don't know if I really want to use just the multiply here. So let's go ahead and adjust our image to see if anything else is actually going to work better. That's actually pretty weird looking. So yeah, multiply is probably our best option there. Okay. And now that we have our sort of Blender body composited back together. I'm just taking a look here to see if there's any sort of grain mismatching, and I think that's okay. So let's go ahead and create a new group here, and we'll rename this our color pass comp. Just select all of these images by selecting the top one and then shift selecting the bottom one. Just drag those onto our color pass comp folder. Okay. And then in the next lesson we'll go ahead and come back and start compositing behind Blender.